Hey everyone, Matthew Baker here. For those of you who don't know, I'm a professional counsellor, and what I want to talk to you about today is how to prevent an anxiety meltdown. This is really important because I'm sure if you've had one, you would know that an anxiety meltdown is not fun at all. You can just feel like everything blacks out, you don't have any sort of thinking capacity of how to get through a situation, your body shuts down, your mind shuts down. It's a very terrible experience. So this is a really important video for you to know how to make sure that you don't get one, and if you have had one, how to make sure that one doesn't come back. Because again, it is a very painful experience, and it's one that I often talk to people about when I'm counseling them and how to actually get through it. Now, the first thing to acknowledge is what actually causes an anxiety meltdown. And what causes it is that you've been holding on to stress or anxiety for so long, and it's got up in this huge sort of path where you've gotten more and more on your plate, that you're pretty much, you get to a point where your mind, your body, your spirit just completely breaks down and pretty much says, enough is enough, I can't take it anymore. And this is where you just sort of snap and you just cannot take anything anymore. You have a meltdown, you may be crying heaps, you may be in bed where you've just like had a big breakdown, you're just like in the fetal position, whatever it is, you pretty much get to a point of total exhaustion where your body, mind, spirit says, I cannot do this anymore. So again, what causes this is that it builds up over and over time, the anxiety and the stress, and it gets to a point where you snap. So while the onset of an anxiety meltdown happens like that, it actually takes a while for it to build up, and it's actually a process of getting to that point. So how do you prevent an anxiety meltdown? Well, the first thing to do is to acknowledge that it is like running a marathon. Being in an anxious situation is like running a marathon. So if you're running a marathon, you get completely exhausted by the end of it and you have a physical breakdown. Well, it's the same if you're in an anxious situation. If you're getting really anxious in an environment like work or whatever it is, it's gradually going to lead to a point where if you're in there long enough, again, it's a toxic environment which is causing a lot of distress. If you're in there long enough, you will have a breakdown. In the same way, if you're running a marathon forever, or if you're running forever, you'll have a breakdown at some point. And again, with this marathon example, there are certain things you can do to prevent the breakdown. So if you're running for a long time, you're going to be exhausted by the end of it. However, if you do the right stretching beforehand, if you do the cool down afterwards, then you'll feel a little bit better. And it's the same with the anxiety provoking situation. So if you go in there with a good mood, so if you have work, do something in the morning which relaxes you, which gives you some pleasure. At the end of the day, do something which gives you a reward for it. So you have something quite nice when you get home, a nice glass of red wine or something, a nice meal, set aside some time for you to read or watch a TV show, whatever it is, do something which is nice for you afterwards. So you just have at least a break before and after, which is giving you pleasure. So it's pretty much improving your mood and making it better, as opposed to the work period, which is really causing a lot of distress. Then the other thing to acknowledge is that when you're in a marathon, having water and maybe a quick snack like a piece of fruit is crucial to you going a distance. And it's the exact same with anxiety. There are little things you can do during the day, during that anxiety situation, like having a little break, which can really help. So for example, if you're at work and that causes you a lot of distress and anxiety, little things like every hour or two, going for a 5-minute walk around the block can be so helpful to preventing an anxiety breakdown. And the reason is that it gets you out of the situation. Instead of being in there for like 10 plus hours or whatever it is, you can get out of the situation, you have a minute to yourself, you're in a different context. Naturally, your brain just sort of realizes this and it can sort of adjust a little bit in terms of like not seeing a threat there all the time. Other things you can do as well is like listening to a nice song that you like, doing a grounding exercise like meditation or whatever it is. Anything which gets you out of that threat-inducing, threat-perceiving environment can be crucial to preventing you from having a breakdown. Because again, if you're constantly seeing a threat and you're in a very anxiety-provoking situation for a long period of time, you're going to get completely exhausted. And little things like going for a walk, a grounding exercise like meditation, those sort of things are like having the water, which will prevent this breakdown. So thanks very much for watching this video. I hope you found it helpful. Again, the main point that you want to take away is that what prevents an anxiety meltdown is doing those little things like having a cup of water during a marathon, like going for a walk and having a break from that environment. And as well, doing a warm up and cool down. So doing something rewarding afterwards to give you a shot of pleasure, because again, you're not getting that pleasure in the anxiety provoking situation. And as well, acknowledging that doing these things is huge, and the cumulative effect of it over time is massive in terms of preventing a meltdown or a breakdown with anxiety. So thanks again for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.